The great writer Ieong once said, "Each affects the other, and the other affects the next." And the world is full of stories, but the stories are all one. Today, I would like to affect you, hopefully in a positive way, by sharing with you a real-life story. So, once upon a time, there was a young man living in a small village far away from the city. His life wasn't decent at all because he earned very little that he had to feed a big family. One day, finally, a fantastic opportunity knocked his door. Guess what? He was employed by an international business corporation. Not only he was excited, but also his family and the whole village. They supported him and persuaded him to accept the offer. So the man took the job happily, and within years, their lives improved significantly. However, it's a universally acknowledgement that there's no free lunch in this world. The drawbacks soon appeared. The man realized that his job involved some sort of immoral issues which didn't make his family proud. Moreover, the serenity and happiness of his home were given up for more income. A lot more people moved into the village, assisting the man to expand the business, but also changing a great deal of the original lifestyle. The confused man didn't know what to do, except giving more money to his beloved family members. But what is broken is hard to fix. The family became angry. They started to complain and blame the young man for what he had done. Some of them even left the village directly. None of them tried to think of the possibilities to make things right again. They had completely forgotten that it all actually began with the choice they made with their free will together. The freedom isn't free. There's a cost to pay. And now I have to make a confession. The story I just told you isn't entirely real. In fact, the young man is not a human, but a city in which I was born and raised. His name is Macau, and the family members refer to all Macau citizens, including me. So like what happened in the story, Macau has gone through a drastic transformation during the last 2 decades. Personally, I have no memory of the old Macau, but according to my parents, it used to be a quiet fishing village. And now, it turned into a prosperous city full of grand casinos and hotels shining in limelight everywhere. The space is so limited, but the tourists are so many, resulting in overcrowded streets, restaurants, and public transportation. Living in Macau sometimes gives me a feeling of suffocation, especially after I wait for a bus for over 45 minutes and still cannot squeeze on one. With fame and wealth, it may be a utopia of gambling or a paradise for tourists, but it just doesn't seem like a place that can be called home anymore. Not to mention that we are facing a serious inflation, and there's often a lack of transparency in the government's work. So naturally, the citizens were angry, and they started to find things to blame for. Yes, it's always good to speak out and have a voice, as it is the value of democracy. But as far as what I observed in Macau, it may be more suitable to call these criticisms an emotional wreck. We seldom focus on the issues themselves, and we tend not to talk about the possible solutions. Instead, often irrationally, we blame the handover to China, development of tourism, or even Chinese tourists. But are they the real causes of these problems? Are these causes going to make a difference? And most importantly, do we really want the fishing village back? We don't know, and most of us don't care. We forget that it was a choice we once made in the past, a a choice that had indeed helped us in some way back in the time when our economy was so weak and the law, the order terribly fell behind and we couldn't find a way out. After all, being colonized is not just about having fun and eating Portuguese tarts. And while we cannot go back in time and change that choice, what we really ought to do is to think and try to make things better in a rational way. Because our society doesn't have space for any more meaningless regrets or hatred. The reason I'm sharing with you today is not merely to introduce what's happening in my hometown. I want you to know that there's no difference whether the role we are taking is a citizen, a friend, a student, a lover, a family member, or simply a life adventurer. It's so easy to regret, to quit, to complain, and say that I'm hopeless. What it really takes is to shoulder the responsibilities. That's what makes us meaningful and valuable, and that helps us to be better. Bear in mind that freedom is never free. Every choice has a cost. And in the end, when everything goes dark and we close our eyes, we will remember the choices we've made and realize the choices have made us Toastmasters of the Evening.